Good afternoon. We are Jane and Arnie Budrovics from Toronto, Canada, and we have arrived here in Grenada on our Amel 50. We are the owners of this wonderful boat that's 5 years old. We bought it in La Rochelle, France, and sailed through the Mediterranean, and ultimately our goal is to sail once around the world. And in order to do that, the big step was to organize a trip across the Atlantic.
We had five crew on board. All of our crew were experienced sailors, which I think I would stress is really important for any crew thinking about, or any boat thinking about going across the ocean. Even double-handed, make sure that both crew are experienced sailors, or all crew are experienced.
In addition to that, we know all of our crew. We've sailed with them for many years. We've raced with them in Toronto, Canada. And we found that our personalities were very compatible because we were 15 and a half days on the water in a relatively tight space under extreme conditions. And because of that, you do want to get along with your crew. If we talk about Starlink as a communication, we are still, as Jane said, it was good. But as we all are reflecting, it may have taken away the experience that we were looking for of being alone on the sea for a long period of time.
And the introspection that comes from that.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're very distracted by all of the things that are going on, it's great to be able to be helpful and to be in the mix and whatever, and be able to know about storms that people are dealing with, and real time, which actually does help your sailing and the safety of the boat and the crew.
But the experience of crossing the ocean when we got here was fantastic. It wasn't as hard as we had to endure, but it was harder than we had thought. If we're prepared, it's always best to be prepared and not need the work preparation, rather than not be prepared and suddenly find yourself in situations that you can't handle.
I think also that one of the key learnings from the crossing was that the things that you assume are going to be okay, like the autopilot, aren't necessarily okay. So always do, like whenever you think that you've done all of the checking of the boat before you go, think of all of the things that you think are always going to be okay, and you don't check necessarily the hydraulic fluid in the autopilot. We had an autopilot fail. Luckily, we have redundancy on the boat, and we had a second autopilot, and it managed to hold. But it was things like that, you know, sure, we checked the rigging, we checked, you know, we had all the safety equipment, we had everything, all, you know, all the fluids all topped up in the boat. But it was the little, it was a huge thing, you know, worrying about that was one of our biggest, quite frankly, biggest worries on the crossing was, is the autopilot going to fail?
I think that the preparation is key for crossing the Atlantic. The length of time was for us 15 and a half days. We had planned 16 to 18 days. I know that some people took maybe 18 to 20 days to make it across. And we have friends who have taken as many as 21 to 24 days to get across. Most important thing is be prepared for, as our rally director has said, be prepared for the worst, and then you won't have to be worried.
I think that there's probably several key things that captains and skippers need to think about before they do an Atlantic crossing. And I think is, first of all, the boat. Is your boat seaworthy enough? Is it enough of a blue water cruiser? Do you have all the systems in place, like a water maker, a good solid engine that will see you through? And then secondly, do you have the right crew? And I can't stress that enough, because if you don't have the right crew, you can be caught unaware, because things happen. And I think that was one of the biggest eye-openers for us this year, is make sure that you have the right crew. And then the third thing is make sure that all of your systems on the boat are working, including the autopilot, including all the things that you need in order to have a safe and effective passage. Like, make sure you've got some form of communication, the redundancy on the communication tools in terms of Iridium Go or Garmin InReach, as well as Starlink. I think is really essential, and you know, you as a rally organizer, Oliver, really stressed that, and I think that was really important, because there are certain circumstances where you do need both. And then finally, just make sure your sails are really, that you understand the tolerances of your sails, because we did have a blowout of one of our sails, and a light wind sail, and you know, I think that it's just good to make sure that people practice using these downwind sails in different conditions. Maybe not so that you test the tolerances of it, but just so you know what it can handle, so that when things do gust or whatever, and that you have a plan in place. Plan to sail conservatively. That's what I would say.
The crew that we arranged this year, our friends and qualified scalers, we explained to them that this is not a sailing cruise. This is a boat transfer. And we all took upon ourselves like almost a military mission, that we show up on time for our schedule, we do our work that's required, we trust each other not to keep looking at, are you doing it right, because I trust you. And when your shift is off, you go to sleep or you make food, whatever your job is. And for 16 days, you get into a good pattern and you respect that pattern, and that brings success.
Our arrival in Grenada was fantastic. Obviously, we'd been at sea for some time and just looking forward to being on land, but the fact that that Oliver and Carlotta came out in the boat to meet us, and they had the drone, and then when we actually got to the dock, and the docking was very efficient, the marina staff were great getting us effectively tied up and settled. And then of course the best was the rum punch and the beautiful Grenada Tourism Authority welcome basket, and the lovely smiles from everybody here in Grenada. It was amazing. It was just so nice to be here, and it was a bit surreal actually after being out on the ocean for so long.
I think that when we made a decision to cross the Atlantic, we looked at various options. We wanted to go based on good weather, and Viking Explorers fit that schedule, that we had a preparation time in December and we could leave in January. We had studied the winds, to know that January is always relatively stable, and we were very happy. That was the overriding factor. We then have spent many years in the Med with other folks who have joined the rally, and then by word of mouth they suggested Viking Explorers because it's a small group that you get to know everybody, a very good organizing team. We see only the front people, Carlotta and Oliver, but there's a large team behind them that help you all the way along. Was a very good suggestion, and we would do that again, to join a smaller rally with choice of weather, and Viking Explorers does that.
Also Viking Explorers, the main differentiator there's several, but I think certainly timing, the size of the rally, the things that were organized for us ahead of time in terms of the seminars, but how the philosophy of the rally is, this is what we suggest, but you guys need to make the decision about how you want to use that information and plan your departure. And so it was enough organization and enough hand-holding, so to speak, but not too much, so that everybody could be independent in their thinking and in how they wanted to approach their own crossing. And I think that that's really important. Certainly the upfront seminars, the coaching, the ability to be able to get things from the pharmacy and recommended items for the crossing that we would need, that was invaluable, because other people that we know that also crossed didn't have that, and so they were actually looking to us for advice based on what we were learning from you guys. So I think that part of it is a real differentiator for Viking Explorers, as well as it's fun. People are fun that come and join this, and you do get to know a lot of people, and then once you're here, it's really fun. It's a beautiful island, and the beach parties, everything that has been organized for us has been fantastic. So we really enjoyed it.
I will add to that the seminars beforehand were top-notch. Mm-hmm. You organized a very orderly, one day, one thing, one day, one thing. And those who wish to participate, as we did, it was a good refresher because we have sailed lots and we have now got that. But to have it organized presentation, absolutely excellent. That was 100%. Mm-hmm. And everything what we do with that information is up to us. But your preparation of the Viking Explorer presentations was 100%. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we wish the Viking Explorers much success in the future. And thank you for including us.
And we would definitely recommend Viking Explorers as a rally of choice.
Yeah, people have asked us, and we will definitely recommend this. And I know that there's a waiting list sometimes, but that shows the success of the rally. So we like the philosophy behind the rally, and we would support it. Congratulations.